ankles with all scrap wood and saws just like chop at me.
A little caulk and a little paint will make a carpenter what he ain't. There ain't a snowball's chance in hell that this is gonna fit in that hole.
Don't you me off.
Sure hope it fits. Are you gonna leave me if it don't fit?
Probably.
I'm Kristen and this is Matt. We've spent the last 4 years sailing our $5,000 Craigslist boat to some of the most beautiful places in the Caribbean. From spearfishing in South Andros, Bahamas, staying in a treehouse and riding horses through the rainforest of the Dominican Republic, to even dodging hurricanes in Puerto Rico. We could have never imagined what this adventure would become. After gaining more sailing experience, we knew we had to make some serious upgrades to our boat if we wanted to keep this journey going. So we decided to go all in with our 40-year-old boat and get a new engine. We soon realized that we were in for more projects than we originally planned on. There's gonna be some major changes coming up, so hit subscribe and join us for the journey.
What's up guys, welcome back to Sailing GBU. Today it's a little different day for us because there was a big blackout across Puerto Rico. I'm not sure what happened exactly. There was a fire, right?
Yeah, something broke at the power plant and it caught on fire and the whole island's power went out, which power outages happen here pretty frequently, and we were like, oh, it'll be no big deal. Social media told us that something caught on fire and it was actually a major problem, so here we are a couple days later, still no power. You know, the island is struggling and it's kind of sad, but we got to keep the train rolling here on GBU. And does it make it harder to work? Yeah. Do we still got to work? Yeah. Yep. We got to do it.
So we're going to head down to the boat because our boat actually does have power from our solar panels, thank God.
Thank God.
So thank God we have some off-grid situations down there. But let's head down there and see if we can charge up our cameras and stuff.
Yeah, charge the cameras, charge the tools. Basically, it's going to give you an opportunity to come with us. You know, a lot of people don't get to travel the world and experience blackouts in other countries, so you will get to today. And let's see if we can muddle through.
Looks like when we first get to it in the morning before we start our work. It's a giant mess, and Matt loves working in a mess. I don't know why he does this, but he just keeps building it up and building it up in tools, and it turns into a giant mess. And then I come down here and I pretty much cut my ankles with all scrap wood and saws just like chop at me. And so I come down here and I help him clean it up and organize it, and it seems like it's a waste of time because we're just going to be sawing and sanding, but things get lost, tools get lost, so it's a good idea. So let's get right into jumping and organizing and cleaning this place up.
Yeah, especially now that we might have to move back into our boat just to have power.
Also guys, we moved a lot of our food from upstairs in our condo Airbnb to our fridge. This is the first time we started it up since we were working on the boat, and I was worried that maybe too much sawdust got on it, even though we kept it pretty protected. But it works. It got right back up, the freezer's hitting off, and it looks really cool in our built-in bar. So I'm really hyped on this.
Ripping and dipping. We've been hustling. We don't care how much you guys love us and support us and tell us in the comments that you don't mind watching our projects. We know deep down you hate them and you're just being nice. So I hustled through a couple of projects off camera just to get them done where I didn't have to worry about, you know, being the good looking charming SOB that you guys are used to seeing on camera. And one of those things was I got my backsplash for my kitchen in. That's going to get veneered or laminated, whatever. So I just needed something in there flat that I could go to. Got that in. It's looking a lot better. I got my down drawer slider where we keep all of our cleaning supplies under the sink. Don't mind the mess. or under the stove, excuse me. So that's going to work out really well. That's going good. And I also cut out my hole for my sink, the rough cut. Obviously this is not the finished cut. I still have to fix that and make it look beautiful. But I cut that out, and because we're going to be having a drop in here, I didn't want to lose any material. So I cut it with the thinnest thing I could find, and I'll show you that now. So my straight cuts, I just cut with a razor. The PVC is very forgiving that way. If you take your time and you have a hard straight edge that you can run along, you get a really nice clean cut there, and you only lose as much material as the thickness of a razor blade, which is great. And then for my little corners that I had to do, I used my trusty handy dandy old guitar string that I had. I learned this from when I was building pools as a kid. You can use a wire saw sometimes where you can't get an actual saw in there. You can just get the wire in and slowly work through the PVC. And it worked pretty well for the sink cutout. I'm gonna definitely have some Bondo, some smoothing over. It wasn't a finished that I was kind of hoping it would kind of melt it and make a nice finish. Didn't do that, but it did give me a nice way to cut it and not lose much material.
Matt told me that guitar strings were made out of cat
strings. Cat
intestines.
Yeah, back in the medieval times, they would take the cat intestines and wrap them in nickel wire, and it was called,
I don't believe him.
It was called slapping the cat guts.
No,
so,
it's not.
Yes, it is. When you play the bass, when you're like I was the MC for my bands that I played in, you know, growing up as a youngin'. And I would say, "Here we got Tommy Bang banging the skins on the drums." You know, they call the drums banging skins because it used to be animal skin. And they say, and we got old Ronnie slapping the cat guts. And then Ronnie goes, bling, bing, 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 you know?
Why do you sound like when you were younger, you were way older than you are now?
I was just way cooler. I had to put my strip club DJ voice on. Slapping the cat guts.
So we have to get in behind all of this stuff that we built because we still have to work on the inside of our sliding door, kitchen, bypass, whatever you want to call it, door. So let's get this all taken apart.
Let's do it. Alright, so when we took the old dragon's lair out and those worthless baby drawers that were there, we got into the back and we found the subfloor back there was like really rotted. It was some old like NFT board or whatever it's called. It's not called NFT, but it's called MDF. Yeah, MDF board. And it was tore up. It was just disgusting. Luckily, there was enough left of it that I think it'll help with a template for this. We're going to go ahead and put the subfloor back there with the PVC. One main reason is it's waterproof, and two, it's like a little bit softer and lighter, so you know we're taking out an old wet piece of wood that probably weighed 20 pounds and we're replacing it with something that's going to end up weighing 5 or 6 pounds. Probably didn't weigh 20, probably weighed 8 pounds, and now we're replacing it with something that's going to weigh 3 pounds. Sure hope it fits. Are you gonna leave me if it don't fit?
Probably.
We got a probably on that one, boys.
Well, it looks like me and Bear are headed out.
No, there was something else touching it. It wasn't my fault.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, looks like I gotta take a little more off that end. Get her just a little bit more grizzly down on that end. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. I ain't the sharpest tool. Go on the roller coaster.
Don't you me off. Hours later, you got the floor of the cabinet.
I did that.
Alright guys, so I'm getting hungry as we're working on this boat, and so I'm gonna cook dinner down here. We made the mistake last night that we worked on the boat till pretty much almost nighttime, and then we went upstairs to prepare the food, and I forgot the lights are off. So I had my phone flashlight trying to cut up the food. We were trying to grill, and it just was a disaster. So this morning, I thought ahead. I prepped the food, I chopped it up, I came up with a recipe. I'm gonna make like a fresh chicken chili, and I'm gonna make it all right here in my boat, and that should be good for us to just easily warm up on our one pot warmer burner. First you want to put in some onions and some garlic.
So since the power's out and we're out here having to come out to our boat and run all of our food back and forth from one fridge to the other, and it's a mild inconvenience, and just how quickly that can throw you off track for your workflow and your day and trying to get all your things done. Just had me thinking about all the people though that this could be a lot scarier to. I mean, we've only been out of power for 2 days, which is no big deal to us because we're like mildly off grid all the time anyway. But it had me thinking like all the people that's hooked up to a respirator or got like dialysis machines and stuff like that. It'd be pretty scary. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I'm gonna be praying for the people of Puerto Rico tonight. Throw your prayers out there. By the time this video came out, I'm sure it's all sorted out by now. Hopefully. If we're still without power from them, we'll be in pretty dire straits. But just had me thinking, you know, how you think you got everything going in life and everything's going perfect, but there's a support system, you know, there's a network that holds all this stuff up. And I don't know how to make electricity. I don't even really know how to go about thinking about how to make electricity, but there's geniuses out there that go and get all the stuff out of the ground, set it on fire, and plug in the wires, and then I can use a toaster oven at my house. So I'm thankful for them. Hopefully they get it up and running here pretty shortly. But I don't know, it's got me in a weird state of affairs mentally, because I don't know how we live. I don't know how we ever lived without electricity. Somehow the internet hasn't gone down yet though. Our phones still work. So
phone towers are up.
Yeah, do phone towers not work off electricity? Any of my phone engineers below, please let me know.
Okay, once the onions turn translucent, then you want to put in your chicken, and it should be cut like bite-sized pieces. Once your chicken's cooked, then you want to add in fresh tomatoes. I don't have any fresh tomatoes, so I'm going to use some diced tomatoes.
You know, she was kind of fibbing there saying that she didn't have any real tomatoes. She could have brought tomatoes, and we do have them here, but she forgot a knife. She forgot the dang spoon. Sadly, this is the one time in life.
Do you want some dinner tonight, Matt?
Listen, I was going to say this is the one time in life, though, that we can't say we forgot everything but the kitchen sink. Or no. We say we did forget everything but the kitchen sink, because we did bring the kitchen sink down here to fit it all in, to make sure that it's working right. So we forgot everything but the kitchen sink, literally.
Next, 3 ounces of tomato paste.
How you know that's 3 ounces?
Half the can. Then a cup of water. I didn't bring a measuring cup, so I'm just gonna guesstimate. It's not too deadly. Then you want to put in your seasonings. You're gonna want to bring that to a boil. Stir it up. Final step is put some rinsed black beans in, some green pepper, and I put a little bit of celery in. And then you want to keep it simmering for 20 to 30 minutes, and then you got a delicious chili.
And that's how you make Kristen.R.'s famous chicken chili?
It's not my recipe, I stole it. But
All right, so in 1979, when this boat was made, the refrigerator systems weren't quite as easy to use and available as they are today. So this was an old ice box. This was an old insulated ice box where you would put either some blocks of dry ice in there or pile the ice up and then be able to store food in here, and it would act as your refrigerator, cold box, whatever it would be called. We don't use it for that anymore, and neither did the guy before us, clearly. And basically what happened was, because this goes into the aft lazarettes, it just became a pour over for stuff that you really didn't even need on the boat, but you just didn't want to throw away, like old pieces of metal, old pieces of cable. So like old, rusty, filthy stuff basically just became a catch-all, and it's disgusting down there. So it's a terrible, pitiful hole. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a wall on the inside to separate. The outside needs to be the outside now, and the inside needs to be the outside. The outside needs to be the outside, and the inside. Bloopers. And the inside needs to be the inside. So we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna get some paint in there and use this for storage for food like rices, pastas, things like that. Alright, so to get my measurements for the walls in there, I'm going to measure it, of course, then I'm going to use paper to template it out. I'm not that great with a bunch of different inside measurements, and sometimes I come up a little bit shy, so I like to make a template out of the paper for spots like that, just to make sure everything gets covered and everything's smooth. Y'all think that I'm cool and I build a lot of cool stuff, but I will tell you this, there ain't a snowball's chance in hell that this is gonna fit in that hole.
It might.
I could not.
Did you double check your measurements?
I'd be blown away. Oh, forgot one little shade out.
How's it looking?
I'm not gonna lie, it ain't off by much.
See, I told you could do it.
It is off by a little bit, however. Alright, so it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close, and I think it's going to work, being as it's just in a deep, dark hole that never gets any love anyway. And you know what they say, a little caulk and a little paint will make a carpenter what he ain't.
Alright guys, so our chili's done. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna take it upstairs though, because all of our bowls and stuff are up there. So at least we have our dinner done and I don't have to prepare it in the dark.
I'm feeling pretty good for a blackout, for the apagon. You know, I got my little pot of chicken chili. I got a sweet bear waiting on me at the house. We got no AC and no fans running. So that ain't really too great. And the mosquitoes been tearing me up because I've been opening the window. But aside from that, I think we're in a pretty good way. And it, you know, keeps you humble, keeps you grateful. And
fingers crossed it comes back in a few days.
I hope everybody else in Puerto Rico is doing as good as me. And, you know, nobody's out too dire. But we'll see. Hopefully they got it done though, because if they better get it right, because we will riot. We will buck off.
Our cubby hole came out pretty good. We just have a few more things to do with it, and if you're curious to see what it looks like ahead of time, like I always say, check out our Patreon. We have the link in the description down below. Sign up and you'll be able to see what we're working on, finished projects ahead of time. We're probably going a lot faster than you think because our videos are behind a couple weeks.
Yeah, and you can always go on Patreon and tell me how handsome I am. I know a lot of you guys are looking for new and creative ways to do that, so you know that's just another way.
I don't think so. Anyways, make sure you guys like this video, comment, and we'll see you next week where hopefully we're still not in a blackout.
Hopefully the blackout's over by next week, guys.
Bye.